Black women orgasms. I want to call it that. I want to reference to a YouTube as well from this another teacher of mine in the sisterhood community as well, who discusses these things. And I thought it was a very interesting topic at the time as well. And she was herself, along with her, her husband, who is like a fucking ape and shit. And they had brought up this she had brought it up on this conversation about like a lot of women haven't experienced a true orgasms. And she said she finally experienced a real true orgasm around about 8 or 9 years ago. No, probably like 5 years ago. At least 5 years ago, with her husband, of course. Not to put that out, but she made this publicly domain through her. If you follow her, you'll see what I'm reference to as well, to generalize the statement. But the idea of saying of the Kundalini energy going up to the spinal cord and releasing a great amount of dopamine, where it's a shock wave through the whole neuron system to open up the dimension of this is like ancient stuff, but this is a level of really letting go and also detoxing. It's like detoxing, and a lot have to do with juices, fasting, eating those type of things as well. Have to be part of this. There's a book I want to also reference to back up what I'm saying, as can be a bullet point in this. I believe it's called Earthlings. This is another author who talks about this, and he talks about all these type of, he's like a hippie and stuff, and he's really vegan and fruitarian. He wrote this good book. It was a great book, great author. And combine that with the other knowledge that, of course, some of my past ancestors taught, made YouTubes out as well, about the eating and, toxification and then that as well. Because then it comes into the mind. So if the brain is filthy and dirty, there will nothing but be negative charges. If there's negative charges and pulses all the time, there's another frequency rate that's being gridlocked through the what you consume. And then what you consume, you can tell that by the different characteristic traits or certain activities when you do consume these things, such as fruits, compared to blood or meat or fat or cancer cells, which is, I gotta get into this. But this is a whole gathering of understanding to understand health and eating and how it affects every cell in your body, even such as going to sexual orgasms as well, because that release off chemicals and that release off fluids and stuff too. So in this book Earthling, which I think is a great book, and I think it's a book that's very relevant to what I'm trying to say right now, because that would be bring this up as a discussion, as the dear black woman for the talk show. Right, so because these is like other mature conversations that I would like to have, and not only that, during these times, because I understand that certain people feel a certain type of way. This is my first-hand experience. This is one of my first-hand experience, a little bit background about myself and what I went through growing up and understanding as well, and from my teaching as process, and from other elders who's actually spread the word as well. So I feel like this is a good state of mind, because then you can see where we at as an overall culture in the community. Not only that, then that's the micro. Now the macro of it would be how it affects the nation and how it affects the economy as well, and then going to the international standpoint. But I will break this down into the segment, and you'll understand what the fuck I'm saying. And then we can also go to another segment to open up this better discussions on how we actually interact communicate among each other in the relationship and understanding of the male principles and the female principles. And this is very important to to look back and then to move forward, and looking forward to, of course, a better purpose and a better concentration focus, which is, development and building, of course, and also protecting, because you do have certain type of people that actually want to be evil, in this period. And with this process, you'll understand the dietary system of what I'm saying. So depending on, we know that, first example, I was saying that the body makes up 30%. 90%. Hold on, I'm getting this somewhere. I got sidetracked because in the background I have to hear a negative comment. But moving forward, because I'm in public out in, Miami Beach, South Beach right now. So there are certain individuals who feel some type of way or something that I'm hearing and shit, but who gives a fuck? Moving forward, side note, I'm saying is, moving forward, that I know there is a segment time on how you value your dietary and health system. Your dietary health system, right? Because you'll see how it goes into where we are now during the COVID pandemic thing that been happening so far as so forth. But then you'll see how negative impulses, and I said 90% of the body is made up of water, right? So-called. That's what it's saying. So we know that if you use a cup of water, you put a cup of water, and they know this from science, and this is why you'll see how certain information open up of being topical. When you take a water, and you take another glass of water, and you put an ugly word on that water, on that glass, and you put a beautiful word on that glass, and you microscope that, you will see how the crystal lights change its form. I'm going to pause that because the soundtrack is coming through. Pause. We need oxygen, y'all. Yoga on the beach, 4 o'clock. All right. To pick out my thesis of this particular chapter, that is a proven YouTube documented scientist test that shows these things, the crystals that's changing the format. So now, if this can be a possibility on the dietary system on the human experience, you can see what are the mindset of individuals and how they speak or interact with each other. Then we can microscope it into how we communicate with each other on the male and female principles to bring it back around, period. One love.
So he didn't see the state.
Now we can talk into another segment, the programming algorithm. That's the name of this chapter. To open this chapter, I want to also discuss that reference to the dietary system covering and the past and psychological upbringing of individuals based on my culture, demographic focus, of course, and comparison on a micro level to the other demographics of people on the scale of economics and the characteristic behavior through advertising, and that goes under programming. Peace. I'm going to stop right there and then pick that back up because unfortunately I don't feel too comfortable writing so much of eavesdropping that's going on. So I'm going to wait till I get in my studio to make some exclusive content, because there is a stage where this is being presented and developed of increase of hate crime over the years of 20 years ago to now.